Nico, are you able to hear me?
You are loud and clear. Thank you, sir.
Good morning, Nico. Can you hear me? It's Melissa.
Loud and clear. Thank you. Audio test 1, 2, 3.
Nico, this is Supervisor Steve Christie. Can you hear me?
You are loud and clear. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Nico, can you be prepared to let me share screen if there is a question that requires that?
On your call.
Hi, Nico. It's Adelita. Can you hear me okay?
Loud and clear. Thank you.
Thank you.
Nico, good morning. It's Rex. Just making sure you're seeing and hearing me.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, thank you.
Nico, this is Sharon Bronson. Number having trouble logging on this morning. I think at this point, Supervisor Hines on, Supervisor Silva. Is that correct? And
That's right.
Supervisor Christie. Looks like
Yes.
Supervisor Scott also. So we've got all board members in?
That's right.
Great. All right. Good morning, everyone. It's Tuesday, January 8th. Welcome to the Board of Supervisors meeting. Roll, please.
Supervisor Christie.
Here.
Supervisor Grijalva. Here. Supervisor Hines.
Present.
Supervisor Scott.
Here,
Chair Bronson.
Here.
Let the record show all members this meeting is being conducted virtually.
And now rise for the pledge of allegiance offered today by Supervisor Hines.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Supervisor Hines. And I believe Supervisor Scott, you wanted a moment of personal privilege.
yes, Madam Chair, thank you very much. I want to take a moment to share with our community and also with my colleagues the loss of a true community servant, Dr. Sam McClung. Dr. McClung passed away on December 15th, and his memorial service was held last day. He was a longtime teacher, coach, and principal in both the Amphi and Tucson Unified districts. He is well in District 1 because he was the first principal of Ironwood School in Oro Valley. He also very much loved our beautiful desert and once served as president of the Southern Arizona Hiking Club. Dr. McClung embodied selflessness, and he lived a life devoted to service and love. And I wonder if we could have a moment of silence to honor him and his legacies.
Right, a moment of silence. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Then let's move
Madam
on.
Chair,
Supervisor Christie.
yes, could I have a moment of personal privilege?
Certainly.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to acknowledge Southwest Gas' generous donation to the Friends of Canoa Parks down in Green Valley. They made a wonderful contribution to the citizens group, maintains and acknowledges the Canoa Park system in Green Valley. It was very generous and much appreciated by the residents of Green and the Friends of Canoa Parks. And I just wanted to thank Southwest Gas for making a very generous contribution, and the thanks of the Green Valley community to them as well. Thank you.
Yes, and Southwest Gas has done some, particularly some very generous donations to rural communities. And again, they are a true partner. Right, and then I, just for the record, Acting County Administrator Jan Lesher will not be joining us today. She has COVID. She is recovering. But once again, I want to remind everybody, we need to get through COVID. We do that by maintaining social distancing, by masking, and by getting vaccinated. So stay safe, everybody. Mask up, get vaccinated, and stay 6 feet apart, please.
Madam Chair?
Supervisor Christie.
On those lines, we happen to notice on the agenda, normally there's a standing agenda item for COVID-related items to be discussed, encompassing everything that's COVID, and it is missing on this agenda. I'm curious as to why, and how are we...
That's kind of out of order now. It's a moment of personal privilege. That's a discussion we can at a different time, but this is not the appropriate venue. Supervisor. Moving on, we had a moment of silence for I'm blanking names. Yeah. Yesterday would have been Betty White's 100th birthday. We're moving on now to Paws for Paws. So I would just like to say, in honor of Betty White, and with that, let's move to Paws for Paws.
Everybody, my name's Monica. I'm the director here at Pima Animal Care Center. And today for Paws, I wanted to introduce you to two of my friends, Blue's Clues and Domino, who just took off. These two are part of our PAC program. What that is for pets that come in together. Usually it's dogs, but sometimes it's kitty cats, and occasionally it's been a kitty cat and a dog. We try to adopt them out together. This is a new program started a little over a year ago. by our volunteers. So this is a volunteer-run team, which is amazing. And so far, they've helped 183 pairs get into new homes together. Found these pets come in, especially if they've been owner surrendered. Sometimes they depend on each other. And by finding them a home together, we find that they're more full and more likely to stay in a home together. Blue's Clues, Domino, they're really fun boys. You can definitely see when they're not together how Domino depends on Blues and how he would be much more successful. So, Knuckleheads are about 4 years old. Came to us back in November. Their parents had medical issues that they just weren't able to handle, these two guys. You can tell they're pretty beefy guys. They're both probably about 75, 80 pounds. These guys sweet and awesome. So if you're looking to adopt a pair together, down to pack and check out these guys. Fees are waived for pairs and fees are waived for all pets at pack. And we've got tons of dogs and cats that have come in together. So definitely come down and look for the Pack Pals sign so you can come and help 2 dogs instead of 1. Thanks, you guys. Have a good bye.
Thank you.
Oh,
all right.
Give me a paw. Too cute.
Okay. We move on to call to the public at this point. Just as I understand it, Madam Clerk, we have no speakers. Is that correct?
Madam Chair, that is correct.
All right. We're going to move to the addendum agenda quickly for presentation. Our first presentation is a Distinguished Budget Award and one on the addendum from Government Finance Officers Association to the Pima County Finance and Risk Management Department. I'm going to certificate of recognition. The National Government Finance Association has honored Pima County with the Distinguished Budgetation Award for the 24th consecutive year. That's almost as long as I've been on the board. In the word association, this award reflects the commitment of Pima County and its Fund Risk Management Budget Division to meeting the highest principles of government budgeting. The association says the work of the budget provides an excellent example for other governments throughout the United States and North America. On behalf of the citizens of Pima County and the Board of Supervisors, we congratulate the Budget Division for receiving this award and for its many years of excellence. I have a bit of recognition. We will send it over to the Budget Division, Risk Management and Budget Division. And again, want to thank all of you for the great doing. I don't know if any of my colleagues would like to add anything to that or not. All right. Then let's move on to the next presentation, item 2 on the addendum agenda, presentations of action, proposed modifications to Arizona tail system. The presentation will be given by the former Deputy County Attorney, Amelia Kramer. Is Amelia Kramer available?
I am, Chair Bronson.
Great. So proceed. I know you have some video content, so looking forward to your presentation.
I think just one document. Good morning, Bronson and members of the board. I'm here as a representative of the NAACP, where as an elected member of the Executive Committee and Chair of the Criminal Justice Committee of the Tucson branch. And we at the NAACP are actively pursuing bail reform and look forward to adopt a resolution in support of House Concurrent Resolution 2020, which would refer to the voters a state constitutional amendment to eliminate bail in Arizona. The reason for this is that the money bail system too often serves justice rather than serving it. 2 cases that I observed in our criminal justice during the same week a few years ago illustrate the serious flaws in our current system. First case A man was arrested for attempted murder of police officers after opened fire on them with a semi-automatic weapon through his front door when those officers knocked their presence. The judge at this man's initial appearance set a very amount of, as I recall, $150,000 cash bail, assuming the man would not post bail and therefore would remain in custody until his trial. But this man was mortgaged his home to pay bail and got released from jail within a matter of days. Meanwhile, that same week, in a second case, a homeless woman who suffered from mental illness had been arrested on a warrant stemming from an incident just 2 years earlier in which she was accused of stealing a candy bar from a convenience store. She had failed to appear for her original court hearing. So after she was arrested on the warrant and taken to jail, the judge at her initial appearance set her bail at, I think it was $250, an amount the judge probably assumed she would be able to pay, but an amount she was not able to pay. That woman remained in jail for 45 days pre-trial at a cost to Pima County of thousands of dollars while waiting for her court appearance. Now, after those 45 days, when she finally was transported to the Justice Court's misdemeanor mental health court, she pled guilty, she was placed on probation, and the judge imposed only one condition for her successful completion of probation, which was for her to make contact with a mental health service provider present in the courtroom before leaving. She was not sentenced to any jail time post-conviction, nor was that ever a likely scenario, but she had spent 45 days in jail before ever being convicted. As these two cases well illustrate, things are sometimes exactly backwards in terms of the way the money bail system operates. It fails to protect public safety, punishes poverty, and it disproportionately negatively impacts people of color. There's an article in this week's Tucson Weekly involving Cecil Villegas, who's been a member of the Safety and Justice Collaborative of Pima County, and he talks well about the negative impacts on neighbors. From the fiscal standpoint of the county, the current system allows an irrational share of thousands of dollars in taxpayer funds on jail bed days to hold a woman in trial detention before she's even convicted for allegedly shoplifting an item that maybe cost a couple of dollars. In 2016, the Arizona Supreme Court's Task Force Fair Justice for All recommended eliminating cash bail altogether in this state. Concurrent Resolution 2022, which has been introduced with bipartisan sponsorship, will do that. We urge this board to resolve to support that House Concurrent Resolution 2020 and the constitutional amendment, as well as any necessary implementing legislation. And I respond to any questions you may have. Thank you.
Does anybody have questions? Any questions for Ms. Kramer? Actually, Ms. Kramer, I'm sorry, somebody did?
Yes, Madam Chair, question for Ms. Kramer. Ms. Kramer, thank you very much for your informative presentation. In the supporting documents that we have for this item, there's reference to a task force or committee that was charged by the Arizona Supreme Court to look at the cash bail system. Do you know if the court has commented on the findings of that task force or taken any action to affirm the data that they put together?
Madam Chair, the answer to that is yes. The Arizona Supreme Court's members in city, sitting as the administrative office of the Arizona courts unanimously that 2016 report by the Arizona Supreme Court's Task Force on Fair Justice.
Thank you very much.
Madam Chair?
Supervisor Christie.
On August 24th, 2020, County Administrator Huckleberry presented a community bond program, and it outlined a whole series of issues to address this. How does what we're hearing today impact or conflict with the already existent community bond program?
Madam Chair, Supervisor Christie, the community bond program is abandoned, and we're bleeding out with the cash bail system. And so we won't need any more once we fix the injury.
Well, Madam Chair, what was the community bond program?
I think at this point it's ongoing. Ms. Kramer is correct. It was a stop measure as we're looking at a more comprehensive reform package, which again has been approved by the court system. And I think what Ms. Crane is asking us to do is to offer our support for the proposed modifications to Arizona's cash-based system that is being forwarded or is being introduced as legislation this legislation. It is my understanding, and correct me, Ms. Kramer, if I am not correct, that this will require, it's a joint resolution, but it will require a constitutional, would it not?
Madam Chair, that is correct. HCR 22, the House Concurrent Resolution, proposes a constitutional amendment. This for approval is for the two houses of the state legislature to vote in favor of that concurrent resolution. Then it does not go to the governor, rather it goes to the ballot for the voters throughout the state of Arizona to consider and approve.
It goes directly to the ballot. There's no signature collection required. It will just be an initiative. Is that correct?
Madam Chair, that's correct.
Madam Chair?
Supervisor Christie.
Just a follow-up question again. Should this, what we're being presented today, will the community bond program stay in place, or what will happen to go away? Will it be superseded by the resolution we're looking at before us? I'm concerned that there's going to be dual bond programs with this and what we already have in place with Mr. Huckleberry's invitation. So I'd just like to know what's going to happen to the one we already have.
Madam Chair, respond a little bit to that.
Please.
Madam Chair, Supervisor Christie, the current community bond program that has been established, it pays bond for people who are in poverty who otherwise are not able to make it for themselves. The proposal that we are introducing as constitutional amendment will eliminate money bail altogether. And so it's up to you all as members of the Board of Supervisors to decide what to do with any fund if the money bail system ceases to exist in Arizona.
Madam Chair, I appreciate that. That helps me. But you find that the current bond program is inadequate as to what you're looking conveyed on the resolution before us, right?
Madam Chair, Supervisor, it's inadequate in two respects. The most important, I think, being the community bond program does not solve the problem of dangerous individuals being able to buy their way out of jail before they are even tried, getting back out on our streets. And we recently suffered here in Tucson the tragic of a federal DEA agent at our train station, committed by who had paid his way out of jail on bail after having been arrested on numerous crimes involving weapons. The ability to buy one's way out of jail after committing those kinds of crimes will essentially be curtailed. And that is the most important aspect of constitutional amendment. On the other end, it will eliminate bail for people like the one imposed $250 after stealing a candy bar and instead impose conditional release. Maybe she'd be released to a custodian, maybe on electronic monitoring. There'd be ways to make sure that she comes to her next court hearing short of keeping her in a cage for 5 days.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Madam Chair.
I think that was Super High.
That's right. Thank you, Chair Bronson. So just in reviewing the material, the guidance from the Supreme Court was 2016, just because I know three of us new to the board. Could you maybe just briefly review the, I guess, what has been implemented for 4 to 5 years through your experience with the previous county attorney's office, if you could?
Chair, Supervisor Hines, I will say that what has been predominantly since 2016 has been a series of rule changes by the Arizona court applicable throughout the state new training of judges to try to get to appreciate some of these problems and cease imposing bail upon poor people who are not violent, not dangerous, who don't need to be in jail. Those efforts have not succeeded. The previous county attorney assigned me to participate as a member of Pima County's Safety and Justice Challenge, and there were a number of procedures instituted, including the Jail Population Review Committee, diversion programs, including design of the STEPS program, which County Attorney Over has ably implemented under her new administration. These are all efforts at reforming the system. There are other efforts underway by the County Attorney's Office now under Ms. Conover in terms of modifying recommendations made to judges' appearances. The problem is the judges aren't implementing those recommendations, and so we don't have the bail system. And short of a constitutional amendment and legislation, there will be no way. And as you can see in the report, this is the reason why County Attorney supports the NAACP's proposal. She was one of the stakeholders, along with public services, who were consulted in preparation of the report. She's quoted in the report. Her office, in collaboration with us, have a number of other criminal justice agencies and community-based agencies. And we all have concluded that short of constitutional legislation, it will not be possible to fully reform the bail system in Arizona.
Great, thank you.
And then, Ms. Conover, it is House Resolution. What's the number?
Madam Chair, I'm Amelia Kramer, but current resolution 2022, which
2022, the year.
Yes, it's an easy one to remember.
Okay, I had written down, but I thought I must have gotten it wrong because that's the year, not really the number. So what you want us to do is exactly what? What would you want us to do?
Madam Chair, I would urge the board to resolve, support House Concurrent Resolution 2022 and implementing legislation to reform the bail system in the state of Arizona.
Thank you. And this was set as discussion action, so we could do that today if that's the pleasure of the board. What's the pleasure of the board?
Chair Bronson?
Supervisor Graham.
Go ahead and, while we don't have any formal draft solution, I think that we can have one drafted pretty easily, but I'd move that board support House Bill 2022.
Or House Concurrent Resolution.
House Concurrent Resolution 2022 and send some communication to our others, and so they're aware that we're supportive of it.
I will second that motion. Is there any further discussion? Let's do a roll call vote.
Supervisor Christie. Supervisor Grijalva.
Yes.
Supervisor Hines.
Yes.
Supervisor Scott.
Yes.
Chair Bronson.
Yes, by your vote of 4-1, motion carries. We now move back. And thank you, Ms. Kramer, for the presentation and bringing it to our attention. Move back to the regular agenda, and we are on. We have no call to the public, so we are moving to another session. I entertain a motion to move into exec.
I'll still move.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second to move into exec. We'll convene in exec and move regular session upon conclusion of the executive session. And just by way of information, during our executive session, our IT staff is going to be rebuilding our teams. So I am hopeful that when I guess there's issues, et cetera. So I'm hopeful when we reconvene in regulars, we will be on a Teams meeting. And with that, we'll exec shortly.